In 1928, Florence Scovel Shinn wrote a chapter that was never published, a chapter her editors rejected, claiming it was far too dangerous. They argued that if this knowledge spread, it would cause a collapse in the structures of power. Florence insisted, but she lost the battle. The chapter was archived, and for almost 100 years, it lay forgotten in a dusty drawer. Then, in 1998, a researcher named Catherine discovered those papers, and when she read them, she understood why they had been censored. There, in those pages, lay the most powerful teaching Florence had ever uncovered, the exact method for breaking any financial block, for dissolving any poverty curse, for completely reprogramming your relationship with money in weeks. And what's most impressive, it wasn't complicated. It didn't require elaborate rituals. It didn't rely on astrology or numerology. It was simple, direct, surgical. And it worked with anyone, regardless of religious beliefs or spiritual background. Florence called this teaching the law of the fertile void, and she said that 99% of people do the exact opposite, and that's why they live trapped in scarcity. Let me explain. When you want money, what's your first reaction? To think about money, to visualize money, to make affirmations about money, to attract money, right? Florence said that this was the biggest mistake, because when you try to attract something, you are admitting that you don't have it, and the frequency of not having repels it. So she discovered the opposite. Instead of trying to attract, you create the void, an energetic void, an empty space in your life that the universe, by natural law, must fill. How? By acting as if the money is already there. It sounds simple, but it's not obvious. Let me give you a concrete example. Imagine you want $2,000. Most people would make affirmations, visualizations, statements, all focused on the $2,000. Florence said, wrong. What you should do is create the void for where that $2,000 will go. You open space in your wallet, leaving it slightly more organized, as if you're expecting money. You look at your bank account and, mentally, you already see the amount there. Not with effort, with naturalness, like someone looking at something that already exists. You act, not pretend. Actee. You go to the grocery store and buy one small thing you would only buy if you had extra money. An imported chocolate bar, a flower, something symbolic. This creates the energetic void, because you are signaling to the universe, I have it, I deserve it, I already live in this frequency. And the universe, which detests voids, fills it. Always, without exception. Florence tested this with a student who was completely broke. The woman owed 3 months' rent. There was no food in the refrigerator. She was desperate. Florence said, before you go to bed tonight, organize your clothes in the closet. Leave everything impeccable, as if you were a prosperous person. The woman thought it was ridiculous, but she did it. The next day, Florence said, go to the store and buy a rose. Just one. The woman complained. I don't have money even for bread, Florence. Florence insisted. Take the spare change you have and buy a rose. The woman obeyed. She bought the rose and put it in a glass of water on the kitchen table. On the third day, Florence said, write a grocery shopping list. As if you had $500 to spend. Write everything you would buy. The woman wrote. But she didn't buy anything. She just wrote. On the fourth day, the woman received a call. It was a company she had provided a service to 6 months ago, and they had never paid. They apologized for the delay and deposited the amount, with interest. Total, exactly 3 times the overdue rent. The woman called Florence crying. "How did you know?" Florence replied, "I didn't know. I just created the void, and the universe filled it." But there's a deeper layer. Florence discovered that the fertile void doesn't just work for money. It works for anything: relationships, health, opportunities. Because the principle is universal. Where you create energetic space, the universe fills it with the essence of that space. So, if you want a relationship, you don't visualize a specific person. You create the void. You fix the other side of the bed, as if someone were going to sleep there. You buy an extra toothbrush. You leave space in the closet. You act as if the person is already arriving. And they arrive. Florence had a student who had been single for 8 years. He did exactly this. He arranged the house as if he lived with someone. He left space in the closet. He bought 2 plates instead of 1. He started cooking for 2, freezing half. And in 3 weeks, he met someone. In 2 months, they were living together. Coincidence. Florence said that coincidence is God working incognito. Now comes the part that was censored. What Florence wrote in that lost chapter that the editors refused to publish. She had discovered that there are 7 universal financial blocks, and that 99% of people carry at least 3 of them. These blocks act like invisible walls. You can make all the affirmations in the world, but a wall is there. The money doesn't pass. Florence mapped the 7 blocks and created a protocol to dissolve each one. And she swore that if someone dissolved all 7, that person would never have financial problems again. Never again. Because the walls would have been removed permanently. I'm going to give you the 7 blocks. Pay attention. Because if you recognize yourself in any of them, this is where you need to work. Block 1. Inherited guilt. You grew up hearing that money is dirty, that rich people are bad, that prosperity is a sin. And even if consciously you reject that, the subconscious recorded it. How to dissolve it. Florence created an affirmation. I release all guilt that I have inherited about money. I am not my ancestors. I choose prosperity with grace. Repeat 21 times upon waking for 7 days. Block 2. Fear of losing. You're so afraid of losing money that you live in scarcity. Even when you have it, you save too much. You don't spend even on the essentials. And this fear repels abundance. How to dissolve it. Florence taught. Give something small. A donation of $10. A coffee for someone. Break the cycle of fear. Signal. I have so much that I can give. Block 3. Hidden envy. You see someone prosperous and deep down, you feel envy, or anger, or resentment. And every time you feel that, you are building a wall against your own prosperity. How to dissolve it? Florence created a technique. Whenever you see someone rich, think, how good that there is prosperity in the world. This proves that it is possible. I celebrate. And that's how you transform envy into a portal. Block 4. Self-sabotage. Every time the money starts to come in, you spend compulsively, or you lose it, or something breaks. Florence said that this is the subconscious saying, I don't deserve it. How to dissolve it? Write down every penny that comes in. And when you spend, ask, is this aligned with my prosperity? If yes, spend it. Not, breathe, and wait 24 hours. Block number 5. Toxic obligation. You feel like you must take care of everyone financially, your parents, siblings, friends, and you end up depleting yourself. Florence taught, you can't give from an empty cup. First, fill your own cup. Then, share the excess, not the essence. How do you dissolve it? Use this affirmation. I allow myself to prosper before taking care of others. It's not selfishness, it's wisdom. Block number 6. Belief in sacrifice. You believe you need to suffer to deserve. That easy money is wrong. That effortless prosperity is impossible. Florence said, nature doesn't strive. The flower doesn't sweat to blossom. How do you dissolve it? Observe nature for 10 minutes. Daily. See how everything flows. And repeat. I allow prosperity to flow to me with ease. Block number 7. Hidden pacts. At some point in your life, you made a subconscious pact, usually in childhood. Something like, if I'm poor, my parents will love me more. Or, if I don't have money, no one will envy me. These pacts operate in your unconscious. How do you dissolve it? Florence created a visualization. Close your eyes and see a child version of yourself. Tell them, you are free from any promise. You can prosper. And I, as an adult, protect you. Florence said that just by identifying which block you have, you already start to dissolve it, because consciousness is light, and light dissolves shadows. But in the censored chapter, Florence went further. She revealed that all these blocks had a common root, a primary belief that sustained everything. And if you dissolved that belief, all 7 blocks would fall simultaneously. The belief was, I am separated from the source. That is the fundamental illusion. You believe that money comes from outside, from a job, from clients, from an inheritance. And while you believe that, you are vulnerable, because external sources can dry up. But Florence discovered the truth. Money doesn't come from outside. It comes from within. You are the source. Money is just the materialization of your consciousness of abundance. When you understand this, really understand it, everything changes because you stop depending. You stop begging. You stop longing. You simply are. And how do you reach this understanding? It's not intellectual, it's experiential. Florence created an exercise that she called reconnecting with the source. You do this in silence, alone, for 15 minutes. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes, place your hand on your heart, and breathe deeply, thinking, I am an extension of the infinite source. The money I need already exists within me. I simply allow it to materialize. You repeat this mentally until you feel a change in your body, a lightness, a certainty. And when you feel it, you give thanks and open your eyes. Florence did this every day when she woke up, and she swore that after mastering this technique, she never again had a day of financial worry, because she knew, in her body, that she was the source. Now, there's something I need to tell you. When Ashley found this chapter and decided to publish it, she received pressure, anonymous calls, intimidating emails, saying that she should destroy the document. She was scared, but she published it anyway, in a limited edition, only 500 copies, and they all vanished from the market in 48 hours. Someone bought them. All why? Because this knowledge is dangerous, not for those who use it, but for those who profit from scarcity. When people discover they are the source, they stop begging. They stop selling themselves short. They stop accepting crumbs. And that destabilizes entire systems. But the knowledge leaked. In forums, in closed groups, in whispered conversations. And those who applied it transformed their lives. Silently, without fanfare. Because Florence also taught, don't count your affirmations. Don't share your rituals. Do it in silence. Let the results speak. And here's the most incredible part. Florence discovered that when you dissolve the blocks and reconnect with the source, you start to receive money in absurdly unexpected ways. She called this financial grace. It's not work. It's not effort. It's grace. She documented dozens of cases. People who received inheritances from distant relatives they didn't even know existed. People who won forgotten lawsuits from years ago. People who found money in unlikely places. People who were promoted without asking. People who received opportunities that fell from the sky. And the constant was, none of them were forcing it. They were all in the frequency of already having, already being, already living in prosperity, even when the external didn't reflect it. Yet, Florence called this living from the inside out. Most people live from the outside in. They wait for the money to arrive to then feel prosperous. But Florence discovered the opposite. You need to feel prosperous first, and then the money. It comes. Because the external always reflects the internal always. Now, let me give you the complete protocol. The protocol that was in that censored chapter. The exact method that Florence created to dissolve the 7 blocks, reconnect with the source, and activate financial grace in 21 days. Day 1 to 7. Focus on the main block. Identify which of the 7 blocks resonates most with you, and work the specific affirmation. Every day when you wake up, 21 repetitions. You don't need to believe it. Just repeat it. Repetition creates new neural circuits. Day 8 to 14. Create the fertile void. Choose a symbolic action that represents prosperity for you. It could be organizing your wallet. It could be buying a flower. It could be tidying up your document drawer. Something small, but significant. Do this every day. Don't skip a day, because you are creating a ritual that anchors the frequency. Day 15 to 21. Reconnect with the source. Do the 15-minute exercise every day, preferably in the morning. Before anything else, sit down, close your eyes, hand on your heart, and repeat mentally. I am the source. Money flows through me. I allow it. I accept it. I thank it. Until you feel the change in your body. And then you seal it with an, it is done. Florence said that at the end of the 21 days, something changes. You can't explain what, but you feel it. A lightness, a certainty, a peace. And then, the synchronicities begin. Small ones at first. A coin found on the ground. An unexpected discount. A bill that came lower. And then, the synchronicities increase until you realize my entire life has changed. But she made a crucial warning. During the 21 days, don't tell anyone what you are doing, because when you share an affirmation in formation, you dissipate the energy. It's like planting a seed and constantly digging it up to see if it has germinated. Leave the seed in peace, in the dark, in the silence, and it grows. Only speak after the fruits appear, after the money comes, after the transformation is real. Then yes, if you want, share it. But during the process, total silence. Florence had a phrase that I will never forget. Silence is the womb of manifestation. If you want something to be born, protect the womb. Don't expose it. Don't explain it. Don't justify it. Just generate it. And there's more. Florence discovered that there's a specific time of the month when this protocol becomes even more potent. It's in the 3 days leading up to the new moon. She studied lunar cycles and realized that the new moon represents the law of the fertile void. It's the moment when the moon disappears, only to be reborn. And if you initiate the 21-day protocol exactly 3 days before the new moon, the effect multiplies. Now, it's not required. The protocol works anytime. But if you want to maximize its impact, choose those 3 days. Check the lunar calendar. Find the next new moon. Count back 3 days. And begin. Now comes the part that will make you pause. Florence discovered that this forbidden teaching had a component she called the irreversible choice. It was the moment when you decided, finally and totally, that you would never again live in scarcity. Never again. This wasn't just a mental decision. It was visceral. It was in the body. You looked at your life, saw the scarcity, and said, "Enough. It's over. I choose another reality." And from that moment on, every time a thought of scarcity surfaced, you cut it off immediately, without negotiating, because you had chosen. Florence made this choice back in 1927. She was in the kitchen, making tea, when something inside her clicked. She looked at the electric bill on the table and thought, "I'm never going to worry about this again. Never." And she felt a warm wave rising from her stomach to her chest. It was the choice, sealing itself in her body. From that day on, every time she saw a bill, she took a deep breath and thought, "It's paid." Even when it wasn't. Even when the bank account was empty. She maintained the frequency of, "It's paid. It's resolved. I am prosperous." And 11 days later, she received a speaking engagement offer with an advance payment. The amount? 3 times what she earned in an entire month. She accepted, gave the talk, and from then on, she never stopped. The opportunities multiplied because she had made the irreversible choice. And here's the challenge that Florence gave her students. She asked, "Are you willing to make the choice, the real choice? Not just with your mouth, but with your body, your soul, your life? Because if you do, there's no going back. You enter another frequency, and the old life ceases to exist." Many students were afraid, because choosing true prosperity means letting go of the poor me identity, letting go of the story of suffering, letting go of the victim excuse. And for some people, that identity is comfortable. It brings attention. It brings compassion from others. It provides justification for inaction. But those who were ready made the choice and transformed completely. Now, if this video has touched something deep within you, there is a way to honor the knowledge you've received. Florence taught that when you receive a sacred teaching, you need to give something in return, not as payment, but as an energetic gesture, as a way of saying, "I value this. I recognize the power of this." If you feel that this video has brought value, use the Super Thanks feature. Any amount. It doesn't matter how much. What matters is the gesture, because the gesture creates a circuit. You receive, you give, and the universe multiplies. Florence called this the law of circulation. Everything that circulates expands. Everything that is retained stagnates. So, circulate. And observe what happens in the next 48 hours. Observe the synchronicities, the signs, the doors, opening. And there's a story I need to tell you. A story that Florence told only once in a private lecture in 1930. And it changed the lives of all who heard it. Florence said that in 1924, she was completely broke. She didn't have money for food. She didn't have money for coal to heat her house in the winter. She was desperate. And one night, alone in her cold room, she offered a prayer. But it wasn't a prayer of supplication. It was a prayer of surrender. She said, "God, I can't keep trying to control things. I surrender. Do with me as you wish. Use me as a channel. I trust." And then she fell asleep. The next morning, she woke up with a clarity she had never felt before, as if a fog had been lifted. And she knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that she would never be in need again. Not because she had a plan, but because she had certainty. That same day, she received a letter. It was from a wealthy woman who had heard about her and wanted to pay in advance for 10 consultation sessions. The amount was exactly what Florence needed to survive for 3 months. She accepted, gave the consultations, and from that moment on, life was never the same. She told this story only once, and then said, "The true forbidden teaching isn't a technique. It's a surrender. It's you stopping fighting against the universe and starting to flow with it. It's you stopping trying to force and starting to allow. It's you stopping doubting and starting to trust. And when you do that, when you really do that, everything changes because you're not blocking anymore. You're channeling." Florence called this becoming a clear channel. And she said that most people are clogged channels, full of fear, guilt, doubt, anger, resentment. And while the channel is clogged, abundance doesn't flow. Not because the universe doesn't want to give, but because there's no space for it to pass. So, she created a channel clearing meditation, and she taught that it should be done every time you feel resistance, fear, or blockage. The meditation went like this. Sit comfortably. Close your eyes. Place one hand on your heart and the other on your belly. Breathe deeply 7 times, and then, mentally, scan your body. Where do you feel tightness? Where do you feel heaviness? Where do you feel pain? When you identify it, breathe into that place. Imagine a golden light entering through the top of your head and descending to that point, and as the light touches it, you say mentally, "I release. I let go. I allow this to go away." You do this for each point of tension, and at the end, imagine a river of golden light descending from the sky, entering through the top of your head, passing through your entire body, and exiting through your feet, taking away everything that needs to go. And you feel light, clean, the law of the fertile void. Florence did this meditation every night before going to sleep, and she said it was the secret to keeping the channel always clear, always open, always ready to receive. And here's something that will surprise you. Florence discovered that this forbidden teaching was hidden in the Bible all along, but in coded form. She studied verses for years and found the codes. One of the verses she used most often was, "Your faith has saved you. Go in peace." She said that this verse was the summary of everything. Faith saves you. Not effort, not work, not struggle. Faith. And faith isn't hoping. Faith is having certainty. Faith is acting as if you already have it. Faith is living in the frequency of it is. Another verse she loved. "Even before you ask, I have already answered." Florence Scovel Shinn used to say this proves that the money already exists. The solution already exists. The path already exists. You just need to align your frequency to receive it. And how do you align? By acting as if you've already received. He also used this affirmation a lot. "I will give you the treasures of darkness, riches stored in secret places." Florence interpreted this as, the money will come from where you least expect it, in secret ways, unexpected ways, surprising ways. So don't keep looking at the same source. Open yourself to all possible sources, and a verse that changed everything for her was Matthew 9:29. "According to your faith, let it be done to you." He would say, your life is a mirror reflecting your faith. If you have faith in scarcity, you experience scarcity. If you have faith in abundance, you experience abundance. There are no exceptions, no victims, just reflections. Florence used these verses as affirmations. She would repeat them mentally throughout the day. And she said that the more you repeat a spiritual truth, the more deeply it takes root in your subconscious mind. And when it takes root, it manifests. But there was one verse she considered the most powerful of all, and that she only revealed to advanced students. The verse was Luke 17:21. "The kingdom of God is within you." Florence said that this means everything you seek outside is already inside. Prosperity is within, peace is within, love is within. You don't seek, you reveal. And how do you reveal? By living as if you already have it. Because when you live as if you already have it, you are manifesting the internal kingdom. And the external adjusts. Always. Now comes a final revelation. Florence discovered that the forbidden teaching had a best-by date. Not because it stopped working, but because humanity was evolving. And there would come a moment where this knowledge would be released en masse. And she believed that moment was now. She wrote in a letter from 1938, "There will come a time when everyone will know that they are the source, where everyone will live in the frequency of abundance, where everyone will manifest with ease. And that time is near, very near." And here we are, in 2025, with the knowledge that remained hidden for 100 years, now available to you, to anyone who is ready. Because the time is now. The era is now. Consciousness is evolving, and you have been called to be part of that evolution. But there's one last thing. The final secret that Florence revealed in the censored chapter. And that changed everything for those who applied it. She discovered that money is not the end. It's the means. When you chase money for money's sake, you get stuck. But when you chase what money represents, you are set free. And what does money represent? Freedom, choice, contribution, expression. So Florence reversed the question. Instead of asking, "How much money do I want?" she asked, "What freedom do I want? What choices do I want to have? How do I want to contribute?" And when you answer these questions, the money becomes a natural consequence, not an objective, a consequence. She had a student who wanted to get rich, but when Florence asked why, he didn't know how to answer. He only knew he wanted it. Florence said, "Then you will never achieve it, because you don't know what for, and the universe doesn't deliver ends without purposes." She told him to spend an entire week thinking, if I had infinite money, what would I do? What would my day look like? What would I create? Who would I help? And at the end of the week, he came back with a clear answer. I want to have time to paint. I want to travel and paint landscapes. I want to teach art to underprivileged kids. Florence said, "Perfect. Now you have a purpose. Now affirm this. I have time. I travel. I paint. I teach." He did. And in 4 months, he sold a painting for an absurd amount. A collector saw it and fell in love, bought 10 paintings at once, and commissioned more. The student quit his job, traveled, painted, taught, lived. And it all started when he discovered the purpose behind the money. So now, before you leave this video, answer mentally, if you had infinite money, what would you do? Don't answer me. Answer yourself. And after you answer, affirm. I choose this. I allow this. I accept this. It is done. And then start acting as if you already have it. Small actions, symbolic actions, but real actions. If you want to travel, start researching destinations. If you want to help, start volunteering with what you have. If you want to create, start creating even without resources. Because action generates movement, and movement generates manifestation. Florence used to say, the universe doesn't help those who wait sitting down. It helps those who move in the direction of what they want, even without having everything, even without knowing how. You move, and the path opens up, and there is a final affirmation that Florence left, an affirmation that she did every day before going to sleep, and that sealed everything. The affirmation went like this: I am grateful for everything I have. I am grateful for everything that is coming. I trust in divine timing. It is done. It is sealed. I rest. Simple. Powerful. Final. She said that after making this affirmation, you slept in peace because you had surrendered. You had trusted. You had sealed it. And while you slept, the universe worked. Now it's up to you. Are you going to apply it? Are you going to make the irreversible choice? Are you going to dissolve the blocks? Are you going to reconnect with the source? Or are you going to let this knowledge become just another video that you watched and forgot? Florence said that knowledge without application is like a seed without planting. It dies in your hand, so plant it. Today, now. Start the 21-day protocol. Make the choice. Create the fertile void. And watch your life change. And before you go, I want you to do something. Write in the comments one word. Just one. The word that came to your mind while you were watching this video. Don't think too much. Just write it. Because that word is a code. A code between you and the universe. And when you write it, you activate it. Florence taught that everything is a symbol. Everything is a message. And when you pay attention, you decode it. So write the word. And in the next 7 days, pay attention to how many times you see or hear that word. Because the universe will confirm. It always confirms. It is done. It is sealed. You are free to prosper.